Welcome to another edition of Futurartist Records Presents. We have with us in the studio today a jazz quintet from the Front Range of Colorado. Futurartist Records presents Flatirons Jazz. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. So this is going to be the first jazz group we've had on this show, which is pretty sweet. Yeah.
I feel privileged.
There you go.
Yes.
Why don't we have you introduce yourselves, tell me what instrument you play, and a little bit about your musical background.
Sure.
We'll start with
My name's Kurt Ehrenman. I play alto and soprano saxophones in the group. A little bit of background, day job, like everybody else, to pay for my musical habit.
Right.
Did study some music at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and University of Colorado, Boulder, and Denver.
Okay.
Started playing music in the 4th grade and never stopped, except for a few breaks here and there.
Sure.
Alan Alusi, I play drums. A little background, grew up in Denver, was a member of the Blue Knights Drum and Bugle Corps, and went on to college, played in some jazz groups, and since have been freelancing, of course, the day jobs that everybody has to have in this business.
Cool.
So it's been fun.
Good. John?
I'm John Limia, and I play the guitar. I've played the guitar since I was a freshman in high school. I was influenced by the same people that a lot of guitar players picked up, things like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And I played in high school bands, and then later on, but then when I went to college, I kind of stopped for a while, and then came out to Colorado and picked it up again, and here we are.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Keith. I play tenor and baritone saxophone. I'm a transplant from New Jersey, actually. Started playing in grade school, but I did not go to music school. I went to engineering school. I enjoy a lot of different genres of music, and I play in a couple different bands here in the Front Range now. And like the rest of the guys, I have a day job. I run the networking program for Front Range Community College.
Cool.
My name is Tom Bartling. I'm the bass player. Played in a lot of different bands around the Front Range and various other places. I wound up in Flatirons Jazz because I'd run into Kurt at a jam session a long time ago, and coincidentally he was coming out of a rehearsal space at one building as I was coming out of another one. We got to talking, and he mentioned that he needed a bass player, so here I am.
Cool. Now, you guys have all mentioned you've played in several bands. You've been playing for a while. And Kurt and I had talked about this the other day. How many of you are in other bands with other folks from this band?
Sure. we're
all of us.
It's rather incestuous. Gosh, let's run down the list. There's Mass Hysteria,
Right.
and of course Alan plays drums in the group, and Keith also plays saxophone in the group, and Tom subs in the group for us and has played with us before. I play in a group called Citizen Dan, which is a Steely Dan tribute band, and occasionally Keith comes in and subs on that one too. And there's a band called the Colorado Jazz Workshop, and a lot of us are alumni from that particular group.
Yeah.
It's a big band and jazz combos that you can pay dues for and get a director and charts and things like that. So a lot of us met there.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
a common
Cool.
thread.
Now, with this group, now that we've talked about all the different bands you've played in, how many different lineup changes has this band had?
Oh, gosh.
Now, you've got kind of the continuous
It's been very
switching,
steady
but
for quite a while, yeah.
This group's
Yeah.
been together for
Yeah.
quite a while. I mean, originally Flatirons Jazz started out with my son Alex on drums.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And what was the name of the bass player we had?
Dan Olson.
Dan Olson.
Dan Olson.
Yeah. So Dan moved away, and that's when Tom joined us. And of course, Alex decided he didn't want to play music with his dad anymore, so that's when Alan joined us. So it's been
was it a
quite
hip
while.
thing? He got to the edge where this isn't hip playing with my dad.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he got to that point in his life where it wasn't cool.
This group's been together now for well over 10 years in this format.
Oh, cool.
But I think it was Kurt and John started originally, and then I joined shortly thereafter, and then Alan and Tom, and so it's been together for quite a while.
Because you've all played so much, when you're bringing members in or someone's interested in coming in, do you have an audition process, or you're like, hey, I saw you play with such and such, we're looking for a bass player, what do you think?
Yeah,
How does
well,
that
if you-
work?
If you've seen somebody play, you can generally tell if they're going to cut it or not. You know?
Right.
It doesn't take too long usually.
Right.
Yeah.
And so many bands have different approaches where we want to see if you can play our chart, or They're just like, hey, come in and join us because we need somebody and we want to jam.
One of the enabling factors is that the jazz that we play, which is traditional contemporary jazz, the charts are available. If you're a jazz player, you tend to know a lot of those tunes,
Gotcha.
and they're rather easy to comp to. Some of the more involved charts that some of the other bands use are much more detailed and intricate, and that's kind of probably a harder thing to get into.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I think our selection process really involves
Who's available.
going out, who's available. But you know, when you listen to a guy play and you're going, holy cow, man, we got to hang on to this dude, and he immediately becomes part of the sub list or whatever
Right,
that
right.
is. It's not an audition process. You know, it's more or less we listen to him live and then
Gotcha.
go, woo, this guy's really smoking good. So
Right.
I'm
So you
gonna-
do a lot
I'm
of
gonna hold
listening
that.
as well as a lot of playing.
Oh, heck
Yeah, we take recommendations too. We have a lot of folks who work with us from time to time, different bass players, different guitar players, different drummers. And when one of us can't make a gig for some reason and we need to have someone come in and sub, and so those people who are subs for us, if we call them up and they say, oh wow, I've already got a gig that night, I can't do that, but here's a guy, and you learn you can trust these people, you know, because they know, they played with us before, they know what we're looking for, what we need, and so they recommend somebody that they know has the chops
Right.
to handle the the music.
This really opens up, you've got to have a lot of trust in the recommendations and the subs and all of that stuff. And you can't really hang on to the project selfishly too much, can you? You kind of got to just go with the flow and know that, you know, hey, he's going to be fine,
Right.
you know, filling in for me.
And they all bring their own influences too.
Exactly.
Does that change the way a gig feels?
Well,
Yeah, a
the
little
character
bit, yeah.
to a degree. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get someone that wants to play a little bit more or solo a little bit more, and other times you won't. You'll get someone that just wants to comp,
Right.
and that's what they're happiest doing. And so and either way is fine. We're pretty flexible when it comes to those kinds of things.
Do you hash that out ahead of time, or does that happen kind of on the fly?
Both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both.
On the fly,
you know.
and then
Yeah, we'll play a tune, for instance, and we get used to playing it a certain way here, and then when you get another sub or somebody else coming into the group, they'll have their own little twist on that tune, and so we've been playing these things long enough where we can go with the flow and let that go, and then,
Right.
you know, as long as we get to the end of the tune at the same time together, we're good.
Yeah, sometimes the endings can be interesting.
Ooh,
but it does present a challenge.
How do you
Fade out.
stop it?
fade,
Yeah.
screech, crash.
Yeah.
Oops.
Now, what's your motivation? I don't know if this is an individual question. If you want to answer it that way, that would be cool. What's your motivation to play, and why jazz?
Oh, wow. Motivation for me, there's nothing greater than playing for warm bodies, you know, that listen to you, are attentive, and they appreciate what you do. That's a big rush. To impart energy on a group of people and have them respond in kind, that to me is everything. You know, we talk about money that we get paid. You know,
What?
what money?
all these years.
You get paid?
You never told us. This
Yeah.
is jazz.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, I owe you a little bit, don't I? No, but you know, it transcends that. You know,
Right.
of course we want to get paid to do what we do. We travel, we spend money on gas
Sure.
and food, and we practice our asses off and all that. But really, it's an opportunity and the privilege for playing for people, I think, is what really warms me up and makes me want to play more.
Yeah, cool. Does that pretty much sit with everybody?
Yeah, ever since I started getting to where I could actually get around on an instrument, it just feels like compulsion anymore. Whether or not we get a gig to go do something, I want to do it anyway.
Right,
whether
right.
there's money in it or not.
Yeah.
All you club owners, ignore that last comment.
That's because we get paid in band bucks.
Oh, band
We
bucks.
created this fictitious currency a couple of years ago
Nice.
called band bucks, since that's what we
And
seem
that's how
to.
you get paid a lot of times?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
For
yeah.
me, it's a little different. I think I'm probably one of the introverts in the group, and I just enjoy playing to play. I also use it as kind of a stress relief to some extent. I like practicing. I practice probably 10 or 12 hours a week, and I just enjoy playing. I don't necessarily feel the compulsion to perform like the couple of natural entertainers we have here in the group who like to get up and that's sort of the driving motivation for them. It's not so much for me. I enjoy playing with these guys. I mean, whether we come down to somebody's basement and we're just practicing or rehearsing at Tom's place, or whether we're out like we're going to be this afternoon or this evening out in Denver playing a private party. Either way, it's good with me. But in terms of jazz, the influence was from my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, who grew up with that as the popular music of the day, and I started listening to old Benny Goodman records and Count Basie records and whatnot when I was very, very young, and so that was one of my big influences for jazz.
Right, that makes sense. Good stuff too.
Yeah, if you hear it growing up, you can identify with it, and of course, if you appreciate it, and then if you study it, immediately you're attracted to it.
Right.
So, and it's, I don't know what's going on in the public schools these days. Fortunately, there are healthy music programs for a lot of the kids, and they're into jazz, reading, and knowing how to solo over chord changes, and there's content there. Whereas the pop stuff, which seems to have degraded,
technology, I think, has affected a lot of that, because now you can click and drag. You know, and if you're in a serious jazz group, it's not going to work out that well.
Yeah.
So, you have to be able to play. Now, playing other people's music a lot, growing up playing all this stuff, have you written any original music?
Tom is a great writer.
Tom Bartling's a writer, man. Can you address that? He writes really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I write some tunes. I don't know how great they are, but
I think they are.
They're right up there.
For me
They're
to
smoking
judge,
good.
But, yeah, lately I was writing a lot of jazz stuff, but I started trying to add lyrics and maybe go a little more mainstream, if you will. Although I don't know how mainstream my stuff is anymore. Anyway, doesn't match what I hear on the radio, that's for sure. But I do it for my own amazement. So
right. Well, going back to the technology thing and how it can sometimes be a detraction from the way things work. The cool thing is, if you're an independent musician and you're writing stuff and it's not mainstream, now with technology, there's going to be an audience for whatever you do, which is pretty cool, because now you're online and you're reaching 7 billion people instead of 700 people in your town or whatever, which is cool.
Yeah, when we were growing up, I think there was country, blues, jazz, and pop, basically.
Rock, yeah.
And even in the 70s, Stan Kenton's orchestra would fill college, auditoriums.
Yeah.
And now, that could never happen. But that music had a lot more content, harmonically, melodically, rhythmically.
Right.
And everything has changed. It's dramatic. But music is so vast.
Right.
What are there, 800,000 or 400,000 iHeart artists?
Yeah, I mean, it's
just
unbelievable.
exploded.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And
well, yeah, it can be rough too.
Yeah.
Alan, you had said earlier before we started shooting, talking about marketing, and I think that has a big role in music today, probably more than any other time, because of the technology and the different avenues you have. How do you guys approach that as a jazz group?
Oh gosh, our marketing outlet right now is usually a website like Gigmasters.
Okay.
We have a profile up there, and
we have our own website too.
Yeah, we have our own website.
Built by Kurt, who does that as a day job. So it's very nice.
So you can search and find us. We're
right.
available, and you can book us through Gigmasters and some of these other things.
Flatironsjazz.com.
Yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
yes, and we're going to be putting
Get
that
that
up
plug
at the end.
in,
So you guys can book this band. Yeah. So has that been beneficial for you?
Tonight's gig came from Gigmasters.
Cool.
A lot of it does. It's just that's a site where people are starting to gravitate to find entertainment for their parties and their weddings and things like that. So
well, and everything helps, right? I mean, if you put something up and you get one more gig out of it, well, that's one gig you didn't have.
Sure.
So anything's beneficial.
And we've got a lot of consistent customers that keep coming back to us.
A lot of return customers?
Yeah, a lot of return customers, yeah. Colorado College is a big one. We go back every winter, end of January, and play their winter ball for a bunch of college students. And it's crazy seeing a ballroom full of kids swinging their buns off and just being crazy. It's like our time we get to be rock stars in front of a group of people.
And does it give you hope that the style hasn't disappeared?
Oh, very much so.
No, swing is still very, very, very popular.
Yeah, people take to swing.
Cool.
We tend to cross pollinate these bands too, and we might play a jazz gig for somebody. We may play a funk band gig for somebody, and they say, I'm having this other event, and I don't want this big a band, or I don't want this loud a band. And so Kurt will give them a card and say, we can bring in a jazz quintet, or we can bring in a group like this and play this kind of music. We have a lot of different connections to play different styles and different genres and different size groups and whatnot.
Of course, and John has also been doing a lot of work as far as actually reaching out to different entities out there, like brew pubs and festivals and things like that. We played Manitou Springs.
Yeah, Manitou Springs Wine Festival a couple of weeks ago. It was a great day.
And that was a phone call, right, or an email, or?
No, it was an email targeted marketing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You guys kind of led me into the next question I was going to ask by talking about swing and funk and whatever. What types of stuff do you normally play? Do you have a specific thing you normally play and then you can venture into other things, or do you just play everything across the board?
I think it depends on the hit, really, the gig that we've got.
Okay.
We've recently played a couple of retirement homes, and they keep coming at us going, we want to do a Roaring 20s theme. And of course, when you go back there and you look at the music from the 20s, it's like really yakety kind of stuff. And I have a feeling they really want swing, which really started from the 30s and made its way forward. So we go there. We go as far back as we can and cover that. So it depends on the audience.
Sure.
People in a retirement home listen to swing. That's what they're after, that kind of thing. Whereas the kids from Colorado College, we'll start swinging, but then there's, we drop in a bunch of funk and R&B and some other things that we do as well. So we try to be versatile. Some gigs are wallpaper gigs, where you just play quietly in the background, and then some gigs like tonight, we're going to be featured, in this party, and people are there to listen to us.
Went right into my next question, which is the types of gigs you play. But I was looking at your repertoire on your website, and it goes on for a while. You guys have a lot of music that you play. You ever get confused? Man, I don't know what song this is. What's this song again?
I get confused, but not because of that. Other things usually add to the confusion.
Because there were a lot of songs on there.
Yeah, we got about 250 songs in the book, something like that. And of course, we bring out other tunes and just march through them.
Yeah.
There's jazz bands use a Bible, if you will, a hymnal called the Real Book.
Right.
And there's many volumes of this with a gazillion different tunes. And gosh, I don't know of anybody that's really played them all.
Yeah,
so
some of those are kind of big.
Yeah, they are, and you can find new stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the only time we've ever been too confused is when someone requests something we haven't played and really don't have the music for, like that what was it, Jewish wedding or something we did, and they wanted us to play. The guy was shouting the chords out at these guys.
All these Jewish
G flat minor, D, C major.
And he's singing the song, and after he's singing the song, D minor.
He turned around and yelled the chords out.
And we're sitting there going, okay, man, I got this.
While he's singing it, that's got to be a rapper's
That's
feat
amazing.
or something. Yeah,
and you survived.
Oh, we were doubled over.
We
the
just
next day, we were laughing so hard. Was that a Deborah gig?
I don't know.
No, I think it was one of our gigs.
We don't do Freebird, which everyone seems to always.
Yeah, that's on every band's list. It doesn't matter what style you play.
I don't think we've ever played Freebird.
No.
Play some Skinner, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So you were mentioning different types of gigs you play, and obviously that sounds like a different type of gig than you normally would do. What kinds of things are standard for you to play?
As far as gigs or
different
types?
Well, like your venue types, you play
corporate, a lot of corporate functions, weddings,
festivals.
Festivals. We did a year and a half ago. We did Brew Through, the beer festival in downtown Denver. That was at the DU campus. And that takes care then of just private parties, private events, wedding parties.
Prenups, bar mitzvahs, internments, cremations, circumcisions.
Whatever you get a call
Cover
for.
the bases.
Yeah. What's your largest and your smallest audience been?
Largest is probably Colorado College. a ballroom for kids.
Well, I think
yeah.
maybe even
Yeah.
the Brew Fru or the,
Brew Fru was big. There was a
Manitou
bunch.
Springs Wine Festival.
Yeah,
that we did
Mancy
some of
Springs,
those.
hundreds of people in
Probably a few hundred.
And we
These
did,
guys,
we did a thing at the not opening day, but at the Rockies, the Colorado Rockies baseball team,
oh, where they pick up the tickets, yeah.
where
the
they
season
had
tickets.
their season ticket holders.
Oh,
A
okay.
party for them. It was preseason, and we did that.
Yeah,
That's
and small, we played Union Plaza a little while, like last year or whatever
the
it was.
train
It was
station.
a little corporate gig. It was in the middle of the train
There
station
were a lot
there.
of people there, though.
Yeah.
But you guys played that gig that I missed somehow, where there was nobody there.
That was it. Christmas
there were
gig.
0 people.
Yeah, really? Yeah, it was.
The next band coming on.
Oh,
we talked about
playing
the
the crickets,
practice
man.
thing, yeah.
And so this pastor, God bless him, sweetheart guy, sends out, 2,000 invitations. It was during Christmas season, everybody's shopping during the day. This big church. And we go and set up, and a real nice pastor, hey, how you doing? Yeah, good to see you. And then we start playing, and sticks his head in. Hey, it won't be long. People will be in here. And nobody showed up. And like halfway through, and he was always so positive. Well, maybe the crowd's a little late, but keep playing. And we ended up playing all the stuff that we wanted, the progressive jazz that we wanted to play, rather than
yeah.
the more mainstream pedestrian stuff.
Right.
And then about halfway through, this scruffy elderly lass comes in with a bag over her back, did anybody order a Santa Claus? I'm a Santa Claus. It was like so bizarre. So it was a 4-hour rehearsal for us to play what we wanted.
Another interesting occurrence happened at. Probably we shouldn't mention his football player's name, but he had a party in his backyard, with the backyard backed up to Castle Rock Golf Course, and they were having a major tournament there. And he heard Kurt play his sax just to tune up, and it attracted all of those field marshals. The field marshals.
golf tournament,
You can't play that while we're having our tournament.
So we cut a deal with them. We said, okay, you let us know when they're about ready to play through, right? And we'll stop the tune, and we'll let all these guys play through, and then we'll crank it back up again and go. So we worked together. Thankfully, it rained that day, and it forced us inside.
They forced us inside.
So you
right.
could just
It
keep
was
playing.
late
So we could keep
afternoon.
playing without interrupting their golf tournament or whatever was going on.
So there were some interesting gigs over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably play. We were averaging probably 15 or 20 a year for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably haven't
And
played that many
we're
lately.
close to that now, actually.
Yeah, we're actually getting a little busier.
We're almost at that point now, half a year into it.
So every band has those
There's been-
exceptional experiences. We call it the Gig Chronicles. Does this qualify for the Gig
Right.
Chronicles? I mean, when I was in college freelancing for another group, we actually had a guy, the end of the night, and we were playing When the Saints Go Marching In. And this was for a local club of gentlemen and ladies, a popular club, I won't get, the Elks Club, no problem.
Right.
And it was in Fort Morgan. And we were playing, and this guy drops dead in front of us.
Oh
Just,
my God.
It's purple, and they're trying to, and so they, yay, Frankie, because that's the way he wanted to go. He was very elderly and everything, and everybody knew, and they were trying to resuscitate. So they dragged him by his ankles into the closet.
Oh my God.
I mean, yay, Frankie! Everybody was tipsy, and it was like, oh my God, and we're looking, and the guy goes, keep playing, keep playing.
That reminds me of that rest home gig we did, or the retirement home gig that we did. And there's this little old lady in a wheelchair, man. We're playing along, and all of a sudden she is face down in the potted plant next to her, fell asleep.
And the plant's going like this.
It's boom, done.
Because it was a big plant.
Oh yeah, I was just sitting there doing this thing, and she's like, this little old lady is
I
like,
don't know.
face
Maybe we
down in
shouldn't
there.
talk about killing people and just sleep.
Yes.
Might not get any more
Music
gigs.
to die,
We're not punching our own people.
music
for
to die
business,
for,
guys.
man. It's great.
Bad for business.
You mentioned Colorado Jazz Workshop earlier.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
The Colorado Jazz Workshop is a brainchild of a guy named Ed Nichols. And I got turned on to it a gazillion years ago. I put my horns away and, got married and had kids, and my kids were playing soccer at the time of that. Well, I'll play soccer too. So I joined an indoor league and proceeded to get the hell kicked out of me. And so my wife at the time said, instead of playing soccer, maybe you might want to pick that saxophone up again. So I picked it up and went and played with the Boulder Concert Band for a while as second alto, whatever. But my initial love was big band jazz. And Greeley Jazz Festival up at the University of Northern Colorado is the third weekend in April every year. So I'm going to go up and see that. So you sit in Montfort Hall, and one amazing college band after another comes and plays, right?
Yeah, they have amazing
And then
stuff.
on the stage comes a bunch of old guys. I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? And they play, and Ed Nichols announces this thing saying, we're looking for players, so give me a call. And so I called him up, and I've been playing lead alto on the band ever since.
Okay.
You know, it's been about 20 years that I've been playing on that group. So,
Very close.
and of course, one band begats another, so these
Okay.
guys
Weren't
all
we
come
all
from
in
this.
that?
I think we were
Yeah,
all
I
at
think
Jazz
we were all.
Workshop.
Yeah, I was
Right.
in from 98 until 2003. That's when I met Kurt and John.
Okay.
I didn't do the big band thing, but I was in one of Ed's smaller combos that he had there for a while.
And you were our drummer for a
while.
long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really cool outlet for people to hook up with.
If you want to pick up your horn again and start playing, I recommend giving these guys a call.
Yeah.
It's great, man. You can walk in as a fifth trumpet player or second alto or something like that, and just get the chops back and start playing. There's room for that. I mean, they groom people a little bit to make sure that you can still like play
Right,
the horn
yeah.
and stuff like that. But man, if you want to get back into music, finding a group like that's great.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, one begats the next. You know, you meet buddies and this and that, and next thing you know, and you're in multiple bands and you're divorced and
Right. Right.
You've
You're
divorced
part of the real
multiple
music
bands?
scene. Yeah. Yeah. So what's next for you guys? More gigs? You plan on recording a CD of original material? Is there someone in the band that's getting kicked out tonight that hasn't been told?
We should do Tom's recordings. We should do a CD. of
I would
all
love
of
to do a CD of Tom Bartling's tunes. That would be great. But he's real picky about who plays his
Yeah.
music, so you have to watch that. So that, I think that might be in the future.
And
Just playing
continue
together.
our
Yeah.
Like I said,
plan.
like these guys, so we've been playing together for many, many years, and just I expect to keep going.
Cool.
With that, don't want to give it up.
Yeah. No, very cool.
There's the enjoyment of playing together, and there's always that. There's something to look forward to. I myself are retired, and it gives me something to look forward to when we have a gig, and
Yeah.
even if it doesn't pay a lot, it
Yeah.
still is a lot of fun.
Yeah, bands are like knitting clubs or reading clubs.
Right.
You're there and you like bash a couple of things, and then you play a tune,
some
and then you like
music.
bash something else, political this, wife that, play another
Right.
tune.
A
So-
gig gives you a chance to. It's a challenge. It gives you a chance to work out arrangements that I think you wouldn't normally do if you were just practicing at home and with no
Right.
outlet. So
Right.
that's why I like it.
Yeah, John's been tossing a couple of arrangements into our phrase. He's done a couple Spyro Gyra tunes and some other
cool.
things. Yeah, so it's
Even Michael Jackson's "Rock
Mike-
with You." Rock
yeah,
with You.
he did Rock with You in a
Nice.
jazz quintet format. It's great.
That's cool. Guys, thanks for coming in today. This was fun.
Oh, Mike,
Thanks
thank
for
you
having
the
us.
invite, man,
Thank
for the
you.
opportunity
Yeah.
to do this. This is a real kick.
Yeah.
It's a great
this was
project
cool.
you have here.
And you're going to be playing some music for us.
Yes.
That's
I think
awesome.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strike the set and set up and start
yeah.
blowing.
Yeah. Stick around. We're going to have these guys play some music for us. And stick around through the credits because we're going to have some of their stuff rolling through that. And we'll have their contact information if you want to hire them. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to this program. Support local artists like these guys. It's really important. So, yeah, check these guys out. And thanks for watching Futurartist Records Presents.